Well, the first of the conversations on NDTV Profit out of the World Economic Forum at Davos 2025. And we are in conversation with somebody who knows all that is to know about the hottest topic. No, I'm not talking about Trump 2.0, but I'm talking about AI because that's a long-lasting piece. Or people almost call it as powerful as the internet, or maybe more so. And Cathy Li, who's head of AI, data, and Metaverse at the World Economic Forum, joins in right now to talk about all of that and the implications thereof for corporations, countries, and more. Cathy, good having you. Thanks for taking the time out.
For having me.
Yeah, so I suspect that you would have a busy calendar the next 5 days because, if anything, in equal parts, Trump 2.0 and AI would probably dominate conversations, right? So, what do you suspect would be the most spoken about aspect or aspects around artificial intelligence?
That's a great question. I suspect, and you wouldn't be surprised, I think there are two main aspects of AI that's going to be talk of the town. One is, if you think about last year, we talk a lot about how AI, is applied in the industry, cost cutting and incremental efficiency gains. This year, we actually have concrete data to support, that claim. And it's not just about, cost cutting and incremental gains. We're looking at, for example, the companies who are leading in AI adoption are outperforming their peers by 15% in revenue generation. And that figure is expected to more than double by 2026. And altogether, that expected revenue growth could contribute some figure between 7.9 trillion to 17.6 trillion dollars to the global economy by 2038, according to actually the AI Transformation of Industries report series that we're going to publish next week on Tuesday. So you see that really AI is translating not only the incremental productivity gains into real revenue growth, so top line growth. That will definitely be all over, the news and the headlines. And then the second aspect, as always, is that how do we as the society as a whole think about this technology? What about all of those, potential risks and ethical challenges we're facing? And just I think yesterday, the outgoing U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan actually again gave a stern warning about potential misuse of the technology. Obviously, there's a lot of geopolitical concerns there as well, but still, that's a question that's on top of everyone's mind. How do we actually control this power to make sure that it's used by the humans for the humans, not the other way around?
How do we do that?
How do we do that? It's a very complex question, but there are many things we could do. Because if you think about AI in terms of some of the biggest challenges, there's challenges in terms of ethical concerns, as we just mentioned. There's the governance gap that need to be addressed. There's sustainability concerns, and I'll elaborate about all of them. And then finally, there's about collaboration. How do you, given the significant AI investment that's required, how do you do that at the regional level, global level, so not all the countries will be, left, not the majority of the countries will be left behind. So if you think along those lines, on the ethical side of things, we need to make sure the AI models are developed in a way that preserve, transparency and trust, and at the same time tackling a lot of the potential issues such as bias, such as misinformation and misuse, etc. Another concern, obviously related to the ethical side, is jobs. We need to make sure that AI is augmenting humans as opposed to replacement. We already are seeing from the Forum Futures of Jobs report that up to 40% of global working hours will be disrupted in the next 5 years. So that is something, it's not for the future. The organizations need to think now and act now to make sure the deployment of AI is human-centric, not the other way around. In terms of sustainability, AI, definitely, the AI-related energy consumption is expected to grow by 50% every year through 2028. At the same time, the AI, not just AI, data center electricity use alone is expected to account for, I think, 3% of global demand by the end of the decade. Obviously, it's not just about the increasing energy demand. Deploying AI has many benefits. We already are seeing AI is introducing 10% to 60% of energy efficiency gains across all the industries because of its use in building management, predictive maintenance, quality control, process efficiency, etc. But still, we cannot underestimate, the AI's increasing energy demand on the grid. We need to make sure that we balance it. And then last thing I would say is really related to this: how do we make sure the AI is deployed equally in an equitable way around the globe, so that not just certain countries have access and others don't. And that's where we need to emphasize, for example, access to infrastructure, data, and governance system.
Actually, can I come in on that point and relate it to that, right? So for capital-rich countries which have labor issues or availability of labor issues, AI is a great tool per se. What about, for example, India, right? Probably equal on both aspects, but a large labor force, and AI may actually disrupt that by virtue of, yes, being more efficient, but taking away jobs as well. So should some countries play to their strength of having the labor advantage and deploy usage of AI very selectively as opposed to en masse?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the response to that is, I think you need to take it case by case, look at it country by country. So as you pointed out, for example, manufacturing in the US, we know that, the market of AI in manufacturing is going to reach, I believe, 20 billion or so by 2028. And it's going to impact roughly 20 million jobs. At the same time, in the US alone, by 2028, we will still see a workforce gap of 2.1 million jobs in that sector, because you actually don't have enough workforce for those manufacturing related jobs. So to your point, that AI actually is great in some of the sectors and in some of the geography. But for India, it might be a different, different context. Then there you need to think about, actually there's advantages in that as well, because for many countries to actually be able to use the technology to leapfrog and not have to follow the exact same footstep as the more advanced countries, that's actually a huge advantage. For example, healthcare. In the US, because applying AI in healthcare, there's many issues. There's trust issue. Only 44% of people have, trust and confidence in AI-empowered healthcare tools. And then there's regulation, there's policy. But at the same time, we know there's great benefit that could be generated through deploying AI in healthcare. Like in India, we already are seeing AI is used in predictive diagnostics. And there, for example, we saw a 16% increase in tuberculosis detection. So those are some of the great examples you can see. Actually, in some of the countries, you might be able to take advantage of this and not to disrupt your workforce, but really use the technology to leapfrog, to redesign the whole system.
Fantastic. Good to know that. I have one or two final questions, Cathy. One is, you mentioned manufacturing. And I think in some sense, would love to know what are the most promising applications of manufacturing. Again, a fairly India-dedicated question, because India is making a lot of investments into manufacturing to create jobs. Now, is it like, I've written this down. Would it be, predictive maintenance, quality control, a combination of all of this? And does this come at the cost of jobs again, or can it complement good manufacturing practices or better manufacturing practices while helping the workforce work better?
Yes. Again, another great question. And you've already pointed out some of the answers. Absolutely, predictive maintenance, building management, quality control, increasing process efficiency, etc. But even within the sector, you need to look at the differences, the subsectors, because from some of the manufacturing jobs, you actually need absolute precision. That actually cannot be achieved by human alone. Humans may not be replaced by AI, but humans will be replaced by humans who know how to use AI. So that, if you think about it, it depends on the subsector. Then if you deploy accordingly with the goal of the country in mind, to me, that's some of the best strategies.
Okay. Cathy, anything that worries you?
Anything that
With regards to AI?
It is a very powerful technology. I do work with many of the key AI leaders. I do hear a wide spectrum of different opinions. I do think we cannot underestimate how powerful this technology is. And I applaud the effort for humans to be able to really go beyond the limit and continue to push for what could come tomorrow. At the same time, I do think we usually tend to overestimate the short-term impact, but underestimate the long-term impact. And a lot of times our own brain, our own foresight function actually will not be able to help us to see it holistically. That's why it is so important to bring the whole different communities together. It's not just AI community, energy community, manufacturing, policymakers. You actually need to bring them into the same room. And that's what we try to do with the AI Governance Alliance and all of the initiatives that we've been launching and pursuing during the last few years, let it be AI transformation of industries, AI and energy impact, AI competitiveness for regional collaboration, because only by collaborating, I know it's a word that I use so many times, that's the only way for human to be able to, really understand where this technology could go and how we can harness it.
Great to know all of this. Cathy, have a great forum the next 4 days, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure was ours, and viewers, thanks for tuning in.